Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Abraham Almarik. I work on Hue, and I'm a contributor on Scoop.
Hi, I'm Romain. I work on Hue mainly.
We're here to take a look at what Hue can do and how we can use it as a starting point for exploration and real-time interaction with Hadoop. So what we're going to start off with is describing what Hue is, and then I'll pass the torch to my colleague Romain here, and he'll give a demo of how to use it. OK, so what is Hue? Well, Hue is the Hadoop user experience, and it's actually a picture of the HBase browser within Hue. How many folks are familiar with Hadoop? Show of hands. Oh, just about everyone. Yeah. So something that we focused on a little bit over the past few months is making HBase a little bit more usable and being able to really interrogate your data, look at your data, and even mutate some of the cells in HBase. And this is what it looks like. So Hue sits on top of what I would consider the Hadoop ecosystem. So that means Beeswax, Hive Server 2, Impala, HDFS, Oozie, JobTrack, MapReduce, Scoop2, HBase, Pig. Also, something we'll throw in there is Search. Cloudera released a search service, which we also have a user interface for. So Hue is essentially a collection of apps, and we have an app for each one of these services. So if you could imagine that Hive, you have a query that you need to execute. Sometimes you'll use the command line interface, or generally you would use the command line interface, right? Well, Hue exposes an interface that makes it really easy with syntax highlighting, et cetera, which Romain will show in a little bit what that looks like, which makes it really easy, really nice, and you can even save your queries. OK, so why a UI for Hadoop? Well, so I would imagine that most people are not engineers, and the power of Hadoop can be used by just about anyone, ranging from data scientists to students to people who are completely new to Hadoop. So if you're an engineer who knows nothing about Hadoop or big data, and you're very interested in learning more about it, well, I imagine that Hue would be the perfect system for you to get ramped up on. Also, if you're a data scientist at, I don't know, Facebook or maybe a startup, and you have a lot of useful data, Hue has many apps that would assist you in that. Also, all of these apps are, in some sense, interconnected, and it makes it really easy to use all of the components, or excuse me, many of the components in the Hadoop ecosystem. So as you can see, it makes it easier to use the power of big data. So what is an app in Hue? Let's take a step back and think about what applications are in general. So if you look at your phone, I don't know if you have an Android or an iPhone, it doesn't really matter. There's a concept of an app or an application. It's an entity within your phone that allows you to do things, performs a certain function. That's exactly what an app is in Hue. There's, like I said earlier, there's an app for several of the components in the Hadoop ecosystem, HBase, Oozie, Scoop, Hive, Pig, HDFS. Also, it provides kind of a cohesiveness and makes it a lot easier. That's kind of the goal, by the way, of Hue, to make it much easier to use the components in the Hadoop ecosystem. So how is it built? What does it look like in terms of the internals? So it's your typical web application in some sense. We strive for single-page layouts. So that means we have a very heavy front end. We use Knockout.js, jQuery, Rowdy.js. Also, we have Mako templates, which is specific to Django. So on the back end, we use Python and Django. It's a Python and Django-driven website. So the selection of Django is actually quite interesting. The apps that were mentioned previously are actually Django apps or extensions to Django apps. So it's very easy to build your own apps. All you have to do is run this command in the command line, build env-bin Hue, create desktop app, followed by the name. And it will create a predefined template that you can just fill in the blanks, and you have your own app. Has Anyone here built a Django application before? Just a quick show of hands. So it's rather easy. The ramp-up costs are very minimal, in my opinion. So should be, I would imagine, no problem. So going back to the backend real quick, for the web servicing layer, we use spawning or cherry py. It's one or the other. These also handle all of your static resources, such as images, CSS files, and JavaScript files. Also, we have client interfaces for many of the Hadoop components, such as HDFS, Web HDFS, and the job tracker. So what other batteries are included? Well, there's an LDAP backend. What that means is that you can authenticate using an LDAP server, or we have an OAuth backend. We also have Spinago, and it's very extensible. So if necessary, you can write your own very easily. So authentication and authorization lives in Hue. What that means is users and groups and how you access apps within Hue all live in Hue. Hue has its own database. And within that database, we have a set of users which you can import from LDAP or some other system, and it'll be managed within Hue. As said earlier, resources are serviced through Hue. We support multiple browsers and multiple databases. That means SQLite, MySQL, Postgres, and Oracle. Now, we're also internationalized in over 8 languages. And one thing I really want to stress is the kind of cohesiveness of the apps. Excuse me, not cohesiveness. The word I'm looking for, I believe, is how will the apps integrate with each other? Let me give you a quick example. So if you could imagine you have a MapReduce job that has executed, and it creates a bunch of files on HDFS, then it's really easy in Hue to just click on the job output and go directly to that output in HDFS. It becomes super easy, right? That would be kind of difficult in and of itself. You would have to go through the normal job tracker UI, et cetera. But within Hue, it's just one click. So we really strive for the user experience to be improved. And that means the data scientists, the noob, I mean, even developers like myself, I like using it because it makes my life much easier. Let's see. So Hue has over 2,000 commits. It's an open source project. You can download it from gethue.com. We do a lot of video tutorials on there as well. So if you need kind of an introduction on how to do things in Hue, how to work with all of the different components, that's all on gethue.com. It's a pretty mature project. It's about 4 years old, and there's a lot of supporters. There's a lot of people in the community. Our mailing lists are just so many people comment on the mailing lists. It's absolutely wonderful. And so, without further ado, to see all of this in action, I'm going to pass the torch to my colleague Romain. Thank you.
So the best way to show the product, one of the best way is to show it in action. So I'm going to show like a demo starting from some Yelp data of reviews of restaurants, and show you how you can use Hadoop with you on various query tools like Pig, Hive to get some insights into the data. So I'm going to switch to a browser. So when you log into Hue, that's the web UI. We support different backends. You can use LDAP or OAuth, or even build your custom authentication mechanism. Here, I'm just in the file browser. So people are a bit familiar with Hadoop, but that's the file system where you can see all the files. And so you can browse like a regular browser, like go in the files, use like quick navigation. We support the HDFS trash, so you can even restore like files, like in a real operating system. You can directly preview images of files or even PDF without having to download them, then look at them on your OS. So I'm going to upload a Yelp data file. So there's a Yelp dataset challenge. I'm just taking one of these files. So in one click, I can upload it on the HDFS, so directly from my browser. And here is a file. So for the demo, it's only 200 megabytes. As you can see, it is a JSON files. If you go on the website, you will see the schema of the website. But it's basically a series of votes for one restaurant with the final rating on a bunch of text for the review. When you upload and want to process data, most of the time you need to do some ETL processing and clean it a little bit. So here, I'm going to clean a bit, escape some parts of the text, and transform it in a like TSV format to make it easier to be processed by Hive, Pig, Impala. So for doing this, I'm going to use the Pig editor. So Pig is one of the query tools for Hadoop. It's a bit lower level than Hive. So in Pig, if you are familiar with Pig, so we provide a nice editor with syntax highlighting and auto-completion on the HDFS of pass. Then you can also auto-complete Pig keywords. If you do a mistake, you won't highlight, so you will avoid typos. We auto-complete aliases, so I can reuse my alias B. To save some time, I'm going to load a script that is going to take in input the file, the JSON file that I just uploaded, load it with a JSON loader, which is native in Pig, and that I'm going to explode like the map of ratings, put each vote into a column, and do some string escaping on the text of the review, a little bit of cleaning. Then just dump it. So then I can just click. It will run the script. So it's submitted you submitted for you, and will print the various logs. The page refreshes automatically, show you the progress. You could look, if you're familiar with MapReduce, to the various MapReduce's jobs created by the Pig. Same, it is a live update with one click to get access to the logs, which is pretty neat. You don't need to go in the command line, then go on the job tracker URL, get your job, get the logs. It's all into one click. The Pig script is finishing. Same, we put links. For example, if I would click on the job, this script created one MapReduce job. I could click and just go back to the previous page I was about. We also put links on the pass, HDFS pass. So I was loading this file and dumping it as a TSV on the HDFS. So I can just directly click on it, see what just ran right now. And again, I can just quick look at it in the browser directly. In this case, you see everything is TSV now. So now I have a TSV file, but I want to do actual queries on it. A good way to do is to use one of the main query tool, which is called Hive. So it's like SQL on top of Hadoop. Before, I need to create a table that represents this data. So you comes with a wizard helping you to create tables. For example, I just give the name of the name of the new table I want to create. I just put one of the files that I want to import. So you is a bit smart, and it will give you a preview of what the new table would look like. So I can just quick spot that my separator looks good. So then I will just next put names in the columns, and to save some time, you have some nice shortcuts. You can provide a list of column names, and they will be already pre-filled. Sometimes you need to double check the types of your data. And I have two samples of rows that let you evaluate if your schema looks correct or not. So then I create the table, and I can still use the table browser app in you to look at my tables, look at my newly created table, even look at a sample of the data. I can quick sort the sample of the data, go directly to another column. So we try to improve the horizontal scrolling. When I have my data, I'm switching to the Hive editor, which, a little bit like Pig, provides syntax highlighting. We get the tables in your currently selected database, or you can switch between databases. So here are the fields in the review table. So for example, I could get the text and just get file record. Then in one shot, I can, same as Pig, it will submit the query, report the progress. On the left, I have a link to the MapReduce's jobs. And here is the data. We support various, we are compatible with all the Hive properties. So if I want, I could upload and use, for example, custom UDF. So I can add a bunch of jar in my script, then define a function, my upper. So we have a blog tutorial about this one, but it basically will create a new toUpper that transform toUpper string text. So I'm going to apply my UDF on this one and re-execute it. And same, we have the live progress. You can share query, you can save queries, and like you see, you can upload, use UDF quickly. A nice example is to go back to my more interesting example. If I want to get the top 10 coolest reviews of restaurants, that would be a script. I could also use Impala. So Impala is like a super fast Hive, which is developed by Cloudera. I'm going to show you like the same query, how to get the top 10 coolest restaurants, and show you the difference of speed. So here I'm executing the Hive. Here I'm executing the Impala. But I think I forgot to create it. OK, so that's a glitch, sorry. I'm going to switch on this one. And yeah, so because Impala is not on this machine. So yeah, so that's a quick and easy way. Use the load for Hive. Now you have support for the new Hive server 2 and a new product called Sentry that provides full security. So that's for Hive. So a nice query tool. Then because it's no SQL, I'm going to demo a little bit the new HBase table. So I don't know if many people are using HBase, but we added a new UI. For example, we can list tables in various clusters and provide a nice search, which is just searching on top of HBase. So we provide, this is a new table where for each restaurant, so the row key is the ID of the restaurant or the name. For each day, I'm going to have the average rating of these restaurants. So day by day, I will have counters that shows the average. So you can scroll. You can also horizontal scroll. So HBase is like a sparse database. So we have a nicer layout where we can aggregate. You can inline edit data directly without having to deal with HBase API or in the shell. We have wizard for creating table or adding new rows. But the coolest part of this app is really the search bar. So we provide an autocomplete of the row keys. So for example, I could select Apple Cafe. It will directly pick up the records and do a scan. If I want the 5 next row keys after Apple this row key, I will just add +5. Then I will get 5 more data. I can use column filtering, meaning if I want to have only for the month of March, only data. I could also do, I want from March to end of the year. So put a higher row key. And to show, I could also do until July. So that's search into HBase directly. You can upload, you can upload data. We can visualize different type of data. So if I go in the cell editor, I will see the history of my cell. I could upload pictures or any binary data. So it's showing up on the other window. And yeah, so for people who want to have a quick look at their data, we support also Avro. You can preview PDF like in file browser. So it's a pretty nice app. And everything is standard and just sits on top of HBase. You just need the Thrift service in HBase to be running. Then you just point to this URL and the table will just show up in your browser. And then I'm going to finish by the last app, which is a search app. So I have all these reviews and ratings. I could use Solar on top of HDFS to ingest all of my data, define a schema of the fields, think like Google search, and then search for my ratings. So by default, I created a simple schema with metadata. For example, a bit like the Hive table with like a bunch of ratings, a bunch of text. But I want to search for it, and I want to customize a bit the look and feel. So that's all the fields in my index. But we're going to show that we can create something a bit more good looking. For example, I want to add the text of the review. We show a preview of what the actual search will look like. We could add, for example, also the rating, which is called stars, on the left. And go, like, use the WYSIWYG editor to add some bolding. We support HTML. At the end is just a HTML snippet of code for each result. If you want to do advanced styling, you can insert your custom style or your custom JavaScript. You can add solar facets. So facets as what you see sometimes on the left. If I want to have, or like in Amazon, like range categories of products or ratings. You could add, for example, like a rating facet. Rating. Then I should add it. And then I go back to my search, and you see now I have the customized view. If you play a bit more with it, here is an example of template you could create with like direct links to Google Maps. I want just restaurants with 5 stars, so we will pre-filter on this. I will look for sushi, for example. So I will highlight the search term. So you can build your custom search engine. And depending on your use case, it's a pretty powerful way to do. Many people knows SQL, even more people knows how to search. So that was it.
What's the different colors, 3 colors here?
Excuse me?
What's the 3 different colors?
What are the 3 different colors? So here in the Yelp, for each review, people can rate if the review was helpful. Then they can say if the restaurant was cool, if the atmosphere or restaurant was funny. It's like we put some colors to show them up a little bit more. But you could put your style, your colors, what you want.
It's entirely customizable.
And that's it. So getyou.com, we have a list of videos that shows in more details what I just presented, and also blog post. And yeah, if you have any question, feel free to ask them now or follow up or on the user list. It's pretty active. Thank you.